How many other people can you have these roundtable discussions with?
Well, that's why we're here, because...
No, but I'm just saying.
I would say quite a few.
Because I have these convos with you especially. Yeah. You're harder to catch on the phone, but you, we might not talk for like a month and then spend 3 weeks discussing Baz Luhrmann, you know what I mean? Or just something so pedestrian. But I'm just saying, but bringing it back to what it's actually... The motivation of what this whole chat was about was what drives a person and what motivates motivation. Your personal experience and in general, right? Obviously, birds of a feather will flock together, right?
Yeah.
So you're attracted to people.
You bring as many similar birds around you to be your friends.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
right.
Yeah.
But
you spend years doing that.
Have you ever sat and just eavesdropped at like a party or another gathering with people that you may not know that well or whatever and just felt like a complete fucking fish out of water?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
What are these people discussing? Because I'm hearing, like I just said, Demi Lovato, and you said, who's that? I said, I don't know. I think she's a singer. Do you know what I mean? Demi Lovato in some other people's worlds would be like the biggest thing on the planet, following her on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, everything.
I don't know.
I think it's interest, man. Like,
it's about interest.
Yeah, I don't. I think birds of a feather flock together. It is. It's like you find people that you can have conversations with that are interested in the same things that you are, and you can have those interesting conversations. Not everyone's going to dig what we discuss, and not everyone's going to, agree with our opinions. But we're here and we're on a podcast and we're talking about
going out with a lot of girls on, I call them meetings.
Meetings,
not dates. They're meetings.
I remember that you said I had a meeting the other day. Yeah. I'm like the meeting.
A meeting. Yeah. Quite often the discussions there, to me, just are boring. They're one-dimensional. They don't have much to say. I mean, I don't know whether people are nervous or whatever, but quite often on these meetings...
Here's an interesting question for you guys to do about this. Do you find that you can have interesting conversations, or should I say, are the conversations that you have with your male friends, can you have as stimulating and interesting conversations with your female friends or females?
Yes.
In general?
Well, the female friends, most of the female friends that I have tend to lean a little bit more towards the mask, I think, in the way that they think to a point and the way that they
elaborate
and the things that they like to discuss.
Elaborate.
So they like to get into similar topics that men like to talk about. What is generally considered to be more masculine types of conversations, politics, history, world events, sex, and all that stuff. A variety of different things. And the female friends that I've had for a long time. So
when you go on, on one of your meetings,
on the meeting, which can become a rendezvous,
a rendezvous, right?
Yeah.
Do you find it quite rare to have those kinds of discussions with these females?
I have far better discussions with men I meet out and about. Like just random conversations with men that I don't know.
Right.
As I find that we tend to bond quite quickly as friends or as men, and we have these great discussions that I enjoy them. But I find that generally with women on these meetings, no, it's very...
Would you say it's superficial, the conversation?
To a point.
With women?
With women, it can be superficial. It can be very one level. It's like, how was your week? What do you do? There isn't much. I remember I had a really bad... it was an interesting meeting with a girl, and we were discussing our past dating experiences. Mm-hmm. And somehow South Americans came up. And then we got into... Then Brazilians came up. I think I might have mentioned Brazilians. And then I just kind of said, the Brazilians are very sexually charged people. Their culture is very sexual.
You've seen the bachata?
Yes. And she said, and she got all prickly and precious princessy on me, and she goes, "Oh my God, too much information." And you know what? I thought to myself, you know what? Fuck you. You worthless, immature, silly, insecure little girl. Like, I have no time for people that can't have a mature, sensible discussion about culture and sexuality. I wasn't being dirty. I didn't say anything graphic. I just said Brazilians are a sexually charged people. And she reacted the way she reacted. So that, to me, was the biggest deal breaker.
Do you reckon that was just because of her own kind of like
insecurities,
prudishness?
Yes, I think in part it was because I probably came across far more sexually experienced than she did.
Right.
But on the phone before we met, she was asking me questions. She asked me if I like to be pegged.
Really?
And I said, yeah. And
She actually asked you
and I
that?
said no. I answered the questions honestly with a bit of humor. And she goes, do you like being whipped? And I said, not really. I'd rather be the one wielding the whip, but I don't care if someone wants to whip me.
With a centurion helmet.
And then she goes, do you like to fuck chicks up the ass?
She actually, okay.
Yeah, and then I said, yeah, I like it Greek style. You're giving it Greek style.
Wait a second. Hang on.
Yeah.
She's asking you these questions prior to the meeting.
But this is the point I'm making. And then she said, oh, I'm quite difficult to get into bed, but then, once you've got me there, I'm wild. And I was thinking, I don't think you're that wild, dear. But anyway, so then, going to this meeting and then watching the way she reacted to talking about Brazilian culture and sexuality.
Ask you those questions up front, straight to the point blank.
Yeah.
But then squirm the thought of...
Well, you know what I think? It was either it was just her insecurities playing up, or she thought that she had to play the precious little princess because
just to save face or whatever.
Well, that's what men want, apparently. Well, certainly not what I want. But yeah, she just came across as pathetically insecure and infantilized. And I thought, I don't want people around like that. Someone that can't just have a discussion about, culture and sexuality. Because she thought that was too much information. She didn't like, going there. So
she asked you if you've been pegged.
Yeah, she asked me these questions on the phone. And she didn't...
I'm Captain Peg Leg, mate.
Yeah, and then she was of an Islamic background.
They don't call me Peg Leg from
we got into it over Israel and West Bank. And she was, like I said, Islamic. So then it went into that.
This is sounding terrible. It sounds like horrible.
Yeah, it was. It was
fucking conversations.
It was a horrible. Somehow it came up, and then I should have just kept my mouth shut, but I didn't. But she was just full of emotional dribble. She didn't really have anything.
Emotional dribble.
Well, she didn't really have much to say apart from she doesn't want anyone to get hurt. She doesn't want people dying. Well, of course, 99.9% of us don't want that. But she's not actually saying anything interesting. So, we left it at that. She said that, she didn't think that we were compatible. I said, I agree with you, we're not. And then 6 days later, she sent me a photo of Gaza on fire.
Why?
And she goes, do you still think Israel and the Jews are so great? And then I started hammering her about some historical and political points. And I thought, only I go out on a meeting and get harassed by a free Palestine fanatic. But yeah.
Look, I think...
But she couldn't... That's my point, is that all the discussions, that's just one of many that I've had with women that I've gone out with, is that it's just all surface level. When you actually look at the discussions, nothing much is really being talked about. It's just continuous small talk, or it's a little bit more towards the surface level, and I don't deal well with that. I don't mind that initially. But if that's the ongoing rhythm and pattern, then you're going to lose me very quickly.
Do you reckon that's just based on the fact that people might feel intimidated or, don't want to show all their cards straight away?
No, not in the
Or do you think
cases.
it's just their personalities?
I just think some people are just... some people are just an ongoing small talk.
I've got friends, obviously, that I can discuss Israel and Palestine with, right? Then I've got people that wouldn't know a thing about Israel or Palestine. It's not necessarily their fault. Right?
No, it's no one's to blame.
No, it's not their fault, and they don't have to have an interest in world politics.
No.
Right?
No.
But as long as it's some depth to that personality, it doesn't have to be in world politics. It can be in cooking. It could be in anything. But have some depth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what I was thinking about in the whole sort of conversation that I wanted to have with you guys in regards to motivation and inspiration and stuff. When you meet people... And they're just reeling off, if you've got 10 quick minutes with them and they've reeled off surface level shit across the board and they know who, Demi Lovato is, right?
Yeah.
And what her latest pronoun is.
Yeah.
But then they also know what happened in the last episode of Neighbours. And then they start going off about some bad relationship they've had. And it's like, what? Like 10 minutes in. Like I said, I can understand and totally accept that people will have different interests to me and be critical and be passionate about different things differently than me. I totally get that. But it's when there's no passion, and when the passion is all surface level materialistic shit or to type. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, a lot of the girls I've gone out with, love, that seemed to be their greatest passion was shopping.
What? Where are you finding these people?
No. Anyway, shopping and men spending a lot of money on them. A lot of these girls love the idea of a man spending a whole heap of money on them, on luxury goods and services, because that shows how much he likes her or cares about her, or in some cases loves her.
I remember I told a woman off once. I didn't tell her off, but I just shook my head, who was someone I considered a friend and pretty level-headed. She was talking about having a date with a dude like that evening, but she couldn't be fucked going. I was like, why? Oh, he's a douchebag, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, so why are you going? Oh, he's taking me to somewhere on Left Bank. I'm like, what?
What's Left Bank?
Some restaurant like in the city.
Oh, right.
Somewhere along, like near Crown. Okay, so you're going out with this dude purely because he's taking you to some flash restaurant and you like, and she liked his car. He had a nice car.
Yeah, because they're looking at it from the angle of security and stability. You know, this man's got money, maybe.
Yeah, but also, and his ability to, be generous with his wealth.
Yeah.
This is a big thing. It's an attraction. It's the same thing that, man, it's built into us. When you look at the peacock, spreading its tail.
Do you reckon the dick pic is the modern day peacock feathers? No, I'm serious.
The dick pic.
Is it a form of peacocking?
Yeah.
It certainly is a form of peacocking, yeah.
But women aren't into it from like the thing that
some chicks are.
Now hang on.
I'm not saying.
Why are you saying it with a twinkle in your eye?
If you've got good dick pics, it might get you.
But it won't get you anywhere off the bat. If it's a woman or if it's a person you've established rapport with, maybe had a few encounters, then I can see the point of it. But off the bat, as in he's a stranger on the internet. Yeah, let me send a dick pic.
With women, it doesn't really. It's not a thing that women
look for. Why do men keep doing it? I don't
because we're dumb cunts.
Because no, it's egotism. It's egotism. They want to be commended on their cock. Our cocks are so vital to our beings. You imagine if someone cut off our cocks tomorrow. I'd kill myself. If I didn't have my cock, I wouldn't want to live. Do you know what I mean? I would feel less of a man. I wouldn't. It's such a central part of our manhood and our identity, and so much is built around down there.
They did that in The Sopranos. Did you ever watch The Sopranos?
Of course, I loved it. Yes, yeah. I've seen it 3 times.
They've got the those Orthodox Jews that they're trying to deal with, and they're trying to get this guy to sign a divorce over, but because it'll bring shame on the family, he won't. So they're torturing him for hours. Tony just gives up, calls up Hesh, and says, "We can't get this guy to break. Look what the hell's going on." And he goes, "Take away the one thing that means the most. Finish your circumcision." He's like, brilliant. So he goes, "This Paulie, get the bolt cutters." That's what they resorted to.
This is a thing. So when guys send dick pics to whomever they're sending them to, they want to be commended. Because it makes us...
Good job.
Makes men...
well done, sir.
Yeah.
B+.
Great size.
Well done, sir.
That's a gold standard right there.
You've got a meaty Greek cock, or something like that.
But what do they think's going to happen? Like this bird's just going to go nuts? Dude,
maybe some.
Okay, look, let's talk aesthetics, right? You look at not ancient, but you look at medieval time artwork throughout cultures across the world.
Yeah.
A big,
fat cock. Remember that from Fight Club?
They all know they saw it. Yeah. A caricature of a penis was always something comical and disgusting.
Yeah.
Demons were drawn with hideous, bodywork.
Yeah.
Michelangelo's David was carrying nothing.
He's got a micro penis.
Yeah, literally.
It's very
because
small.
they saw it as aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
When did it get turned around?
When we became obsessed with pornography.
Well, we don't know what it looked like hard. Do you know what I mean?
No, well, there's no content.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, and generally dick pics of hard cocks or half-mast at least.
Half-mast. I'm a big fan of that.
That's a great term.
I also think it is a cultural thing too, because like when you think about back then, you know, the whole thing when they had, you look at those, you know, the ancient Greek statues where they got the, you know, those jester characters with a giant hard on that's like, and they're grabbing it like with two hands. And that was considered like they were the jokesters. They were the kind of the jesters, and they were very animalistic. And whereas if you were someone of high value, you were, you know, you
refined.
weren't that, you know, you were
dignified.
You were more, you know, heady, cerebral.
I think you're right. It is a form of peacocking, but so are body shots in general. Taking, you know, shots of your body, your chest, your arms.
The selfie from the certain angle in the specific part of the house because of the lighting.
Body pics, cock pics. But, you know, also, you know, we talked about how, you know, a guy that throws cash around appeals to women. Again, that's a form of peacocking. I mean, the amount of times I've seen and observed guys doing that, whether they are as loaded as they claim to be or they imply, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day, because they are also peacock feathers. And men know that that's a way to, you know, lure women in. I think that works far better than cock picks.
You mean making it rain with dollar bills?
Yeah.
Walking around with those guns just loaded up.
Well, literally, man, you go to a lot of clubs in America and stuff, like it's all about that. You know, you get these rich Saudis that come in and they go to these New York clubs and they get their table and they just like, and they'll just have, you know, women come to their thing. You know what I mean? It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
You know, who can flash the most?
Yeah, and this is why when I meet women, you know, the second or third question they ask me is, so what do you do?
Yes.
Because that question is trying to ascertain a salary,
100%.
A salary bracket.
But it's not even that, man. It's actually beyond that. It's I think the salary is an indication to something else, which is about power, and it's about prestige, it's about status, it's about all these things. So if you're, for instance, you know, with some women, the whole me being an actor thing is a real, like, they're supercharged by it. They're like, oh my God. Yeah,
well, I used to tell people that I ran a media company.
Yeah.
And then, you know, like, what do you mean? I'm like, all right, well, did you see the latest music video by blah, blah, blah? Like, we did that. Oh, what?
Yeah.
Actually, I remember an event we all went to back in like 2012 or something. We were all there. We were there on Simo's ticket. He was paying for advertising in like a media company in Australia, in Melbourne, or maybe it was Australian wide. I don't know.
Oh, it's a national media.
Yeah, some
company.
sort of magazine.
We're doing PR with them.
Yeah, PR. Yeah. And we went on your ticket. You invited me and this guy down to the Christmas party.
Yeah.
You had just gotten a gig. I can't remember what role it was, but it was a half-decent gig. And we had just done a music video which had gone national.
Oh, okay.
And we're standing around, and these girls turned around. Like, we were just standing around.
Oh.
I'll never forget this.
Where was this, in the city? Or
somewhere in Brunswick?
Yeah.
Well, we would have
Fitzroy.
We would have been in our early to mid-20s then.
Well,
that was a minute.
This was like
2012. So, yeah, like mid to late 20s.
Yeah, that's a long time
remember
ago.
this.
I'll never forget it.
Yeah.
Because we were standing around. I think pretty sure we were all single at the time. We're all like just coming into our lanes, basically.
Yeah.
And we're having I remember it was a great freaking night.
It was a good night.
Yeah, there was that woman that looked like Elizabeth Taylor. We lost our shit. You look like Elizabeth Taylor. She's like, yeah, I get that a lot. I took a photo with her. I remember this group of girls just turned around and looked at me and said, oh, what do you do? I went, sorry? She goes, what are you doing here? Like, how are you here at this event? And I just looked at her, and then you guys sort of sidled in behind her. And I said, well, I'm a media producer. I go, he's what did I say? Like a fashion something. I go, and he's an actor. Well, what have you done? Like, what do you mean? I'm like, I'm not going to get into this with you now. Like, you serious? She goes, no, like, what have you done? I'm like, okay. So I remember I put out my business card.
It's inevitable.
I go, you see this business card? So she read it. She goes, yeah. Then I put out my phone, got on YouTube and pumped like the latest music video we'd done for some ARIA like artist. I go, you see the name underneath there? Does it match the card? She goes, oh my God, yeah, I know this clip. I'm like, yeah. I go, we did that. I go, he was in, and like I started pointing at shit. And then like,
man,
and they went off.
Literally, Man, literally, I'm on Hinge, right? Chat, literally just hours before I came here, and this chick's like asking me the first thing she asks, after we have the initial hello.
Yeah.
I'm well, and you, what work do you do?
Yeah, see, this is the thing.
And then I tell her, and I go, because I'm working in a casting, I'm working for a casting agency. Casting agent, and then I have to explain, I cast actors for commercials, Oh, have you ever done acting? And I'm like, yes, I'm an actor. I'm an actor as well as an agent. And she's like, oh, is there anything I might have seen you in? This is why I never tell people I'm an actor.
Yeah.
If they haven't seen me, if they don't know who I am, then I avoid it because it becomes this whole fucking thing about me trying to prove who I am. And then I'm just like, fuck this. I send her a fucking link to my IMDb and I just go, that's my CV.
Yeah, easier.
Dude, I told someone I do voiceovers, like, what do you mean? What have you done that I would have heard? I'm like, oh, for fuck's sakes. And I pointed to Peter Jackson. I go, there. I go, Peter Jackson head.
It's just, yeah, it's annoying, and I just try and anytime the attention comes on me about what I do, I quickly just
turn it around.
Yeah, quickly address it, and then I turn it around on them, and I ask them questions
because
about
what they're trying to figure out. We talked about level of salary, but it's also they're trying to figure out stability, security, what you can bring to the table.
Yeah.
When I tell people, women, whatever, that I work in commercial construction. Every time I mention commercial construction, their eyes light up, and
because they're thinking dollars.
They're thinking dollars because it is the industry. Yeah, they're thinking dollars, and also
not all women are like that.
No,
as in
they're not.
They're not all chasing money. They're all chasing some form of like the girls that are into. The person being, like having some sort of like prestige as an actor or whatever, is that there's some sort of fame attached to it. So there's a lot of attention on that. So because they want that, they want that attention, you see. The women that want that attention are kind of into that. You know what I'm saying? Like they're kind of like they want to be seen.
Do you remember what Chris Rock said? Like a guy asking, a group of guys get together. And then, one of the boys could say, I'm seeing this new bird or whatever. And what are the typical questions the guys ask? It's like, what she look like?
Yeah.
That's blah, blah,
my
blah.
first question.
Yeah, what does she look like? All that shit.
Yeah.
First question women ask is, what does he do?
What does he do?
What does he do?
Can this guy facilitate a dream or not?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, can he facilitate... can he facilitate what I need in life? And it goes a little bit deeper than just mere money, as you're implying as well. It goes down to the levels of security.
You know what? I read someone. Actually, I didn't read it. Someone told me about it. I was talking to a couple about their there was a new couple that I just met, sort of thing, through friends and stuff. And I was just asking them, so how'd you guys, get together? They hadn't been together for 6 months, a year, or whatever, but they were getting married. And I said, so it's a bit quick. How to get together? And the guy said. And they both had seemingly the same answers. The guy started it off by saying something like, the most important thing is that we both love ourselves. We're both comfortable with who we are. We both like who we are as individuals. We're comfortable with where we're headed. And together, we can facilitate that dream moving forward as a unit.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But similar visions of life.
Yeah. It isn't one individual that needs the other person to build them up. Do you know what I mean? Or facilitate that dream. They both have a keen understanding of themselves. They're comfortable, they're confident, and they don't have that baggage.
I would say that's pretty rare.
Yeah,
It's very rare because that's very smart. But I think, in the West, we expect maybe our partners to be our everything, to provide everything that we need.
The thing that I get, right, is that I don't think your partner has to be on your level 100% as far as what you're passionate about and whatever. You could have totally different, like similarly inclined interests obviously helps, right? Common fucking interest, right? Obviously helps. But it's not necessarily being passionate about the same things, but just having a level of passion and interest towards life and being content. That needs to be there because and it's one thing to be with someone, even just your friends, and fall back and fall away from where you wanted to be and have to lean on people. But it's one thing to lean on people and another thing expecting other people to carry you indefinitely.
Yeah.
That's when it gets tiresome.
And that other person to provide everything that you want to need out of life.
And I think that's the key.
Yeah, you need to have other outlets. It's not, I don't think it's particularly healthy to rely on your partner for absolutely every single thing.
8 billion people on the planet.
And every single outlet to be via your partner. No, I don't think that's a good idea at all. But there are some people that do live that way.
Yeah.
And I think that can be problematic.
It depends on, a lot of relationships, become codependent in that way. You know what I mean? Like,
it's one thing because if you've gone through a rough patch, you know what I mean? Or maybe you're figuring yourself out, maybe you're in a transitional period, maybe your career's changing, whatever it is. It's one thing to lean on someone. It's another thing to be reliant on them forever.
Yeah.
Or for everything.
For everything, exactly.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, if you're trying to fill a void, that's deep within you, and you want, that's not going to work. But yeah, there's obviously there has to be some sort of leaning in a relationship. Otherwise, why be in one?
So then, where does the motivation? This is what I was trying to say before. Getting up in the morning, we obviously have. We have different lives. We have common interests. We have different lives. What motivates you to get up in the morning and do what you do? Right? Are you a product of your environment? Our dreams, does it make a difference where you grow up in regards to your outlook on life? What gets you inspired? Can you look to people doing better than you as inspiration, or does that fuel your anger?
It's a good question.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think, I understand what you're saying. I think you can, for me, it depends. Anything can give you inspiration. If you can connect with whatever that is, if it gives you inspiration, you can use that as fuel to, move forward or pursue your dreams or whatever it might be. And, you might, depending on, I guess, where you come from or, what story, what narrative you have for yourself, you might get inspired by, say you grew up, in a difficult situation and, you struggled and this and that, you might find someone's story inspirational. You might find, the story of Stallone, making Rocky, that might be a real inspirational story for you, whatever.
It is a good story.
Yeah, that's one example. But, inspiration can come from anywhere, I think. Yeah.
You reckon? But I think there's an abundant amount of people walking around completely uninspired and indifferent.
Yes.
Well, there's a lot of indifference and a lot of and a lot of complacency and a lot of all that stuff.
That's one of your words too.
Look, I'm a testament for me, and I think for everyone here, not just me, for every person sitting here. We are a testament. We are people that we need inspiration in our lives. Otherwise, what's the point? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're creative people. We're people that. We want to do something for ourselves, and so in order to do that, you need to have inspiration.
But put it this way, like if I didn't have the project or projects that I have that I work on, then I think it would be a struggle to get up in the morning. If it was, I think that's what gets me up in the morning. I'm very, as you know, very structured in the way I live and the way I work. So every morning exercise. Every morning the same breakfast because it suits me and it makes me feel good.
You sound like Patrick Bateman, man.
And my cleanser and my...
I can do almost 1,000.
Yeah. My moisturizer routine and the rosehip oil as well. Yeah, but also I wake up every morning with a mission.
Yeah.
Apart from my morning exercise routine and that, it's about certain things that I'm striving for and I'm achieving.
Do you have that mission as a statement that's written out that you read to yourself?
No, it's in my head.
As in like a vision board.
I don't know
a mantra.
It's all in my head. There are things that I've got written out that are part of my mission, obviously in planned format. But I've got, let's say, a handful of goals or objectives.
Okay.
That I'm working towards, and that's what keeps me happy.
Yeah. Well, it makes perfect sense because you need a goal. You need something to aim towards.
Yeah, and my parents have described me, I guess, as relentless. Sometimes I think they're just amazed by my energy, and I feel that energy is there because It's what makes me happy. There's just this huge drive in me. I used to be when I was younger, my focus was a little bit different, and I guess the drive was more intense. For me, it was probably a louder form of it. But as I've gotten older, it's far more quiet, it's far more subtle, but it's still very measured, and it's still the same kind of drive. It's just not a showman, not a showman perspective.
Yeah, it's more undercover now.
It's more undercover, more discreet. So I work towards it, and I've got, say, 5 things on my list, and I've got those in the back of my head when I wake up, when I go to bed, when I'm walking around every day. I can feel it. And some people might say, well, that sounds a bit intense, or how do you deal with that? And I have certain standards that I expect of myself. It could be work, it could be health and fitness, it could be whatever. But it's what keeps me going, and it's what keeps me happy. So if you took all that away from me, then I'd probably be a very sad person. If I didn't have the
worker bee.
Yes, if I didn't have those drives and those goals. And I always say it doesn't matter if you don't achieve your goal 100%, but the fact that you strove towards it, and you might have only gotten 50% of what you had in your head, or 60 or 70 or whatever. But sometimes good enough is good enough. I'm not going to beat myself up over not achieving 100% on every single thing on my list, but I'm going for every single one of them, and I'm always going to see a degree of result.
And the important thing is that you make the effort to actually achieve it.
Yeah, I don't know any other way to live. It's almost like I'm on auto drive with this sort of thing.
So then what motivates you? As in, what's the end goal? Do you know what I mean? I mean, you've been doing acting for as long as I've known you. And I remember when... shit, you know what? The first thing that I cast him in, I cast you in as well. You don't remember?
Is that horror?
Yeah.
Shot? Yeah.
I just realised it. You were both on one of my film sets. I was the casting agent. I was a producer. I was also the audio producer, the engineer. Was that the one where the set director?
Was that the one where I got naked?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw things that night. Dead set. The first production. That's the only production I've actually done with either of you guys. But that was 2009. You know what I mean? And the other day when I did that rant about Ryan Maloney and the carcasses at Neighbours, I brought up his CV.
Yeah.
Ryan Maloney's cracking the shits because he's not getting real time at the Logies, and
who's that?
Guy plays Toadie.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
He's the one guy that's been there for like 30 years.
Maybe if I saw his face.
Yeah. Right? But he cracked the shits because he didn't get enough. Like, there were people on the in memoriam spiel at the Logies about Neighbours that he goes, oh, people that have been on the show for 30 years haven't even got their flowers, you know what I mean? This is bullshit, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, hold the phone, man. This guy, his CV is fucking packed and stacked with actual fucking roles in series that made a dent. Who the fuck is Ryan Maloney to demand flowers at the Logies? What has he done? As one of Australia's best fucking TV stars? What, longevity? Fuck off. They should have killed this show off 20 years ago when it stopped making money. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So as far as look, I'm not asking you to throw any one of your colleagues and counterparts under the bus, right? I'm not going to do that to you. I will, because I don't give a fuck about any of these people. Fuck them. No, but I'm talking about substance here. You got these pseudo celebrities that have done nothing but star on, Neighbours. It's like, hang on, at one point we all got up to want to be actors, right? All of us here have appeared in short films in some capacity, some acting thing in some capacity, right? We've all got an experience in that. So let's just say we all know what it's like, right? These dickheads, they didn't go further than Neighbours. And they sat in it and wallowed in it until they got warm in their own shit. I'm not going to piss in your pocket to make you feel warm on top of it. You've had job security for 30 fucking years. But now you want flowers because your piece of shit show is ending and you have to get a real fucking job? No. I've got a dozen mates that have done actual acting gigs with a CV for the last 10 years. And you know what? Alex's motivation to be an actor and a thespian and, explore his craft goes beyond anything they ever taught at Neighbours as a fucking launch pad. Look at Guy Pearce, right? He started on Neighbours. Guy Pearce was in Memento. Fucking brilliant movie. Do you reckon Guy Pearce has the same motivation as Ryan Maloney? Why is it that these stars, or like, what's her name? The girl that was in The Wolf of Wall Street.
Margot Robbie.
Yeah. She's an A-list actor now, right? And whatever acting abilities is, like, it's, subjective, right?
Yeah.
Form your own opinion.
But she's on the A-list.
But she's on the A-list.
Yeah.
How does she get on that A-list? Is it because she's blonde, blue-eyed, and pretty? Can't be just that. Because...
multivariate reasons. Yeah.
There are plenty of fucking Aussie actors that were on Neighbours and East Street and all the other shows that look like Margot Robbie that didn't get that fucking big.
Exactly. Yeah. It's hard. It's a lot of things. It's hard work. It's really hard work. It's tenacity. It's having vision. It's having, it's being good with, networking and, I mean, what does it take to get to where you want to get to? It can take a lot.
But that's my point. We're talking specifically about acting now, right? Take a look. You know what? Do you know what I get a lot of, like, not pleasure out of, but you know what makes me smile? Every time some idiot starts a cooking page on Instagram, or like some sort of media music handle, something creative, or they start some side hustle where they're making T-shirts or some shit, right? Usually, ISO bought that out a lot. Everyone suddenly became a DIY expert on everything, right? I can make ceramic mugs at home and sell them. No, you can't. You bought a kiln. Do you know what I mean? Give me a break, right? This is what pisses me off. It doesn't piss me off. It makes me laugh. Every time they get excited, they get ramped up, join my Instagram page, join this page, join that page. All right, cool. I'll show support. Here's a like. It goes dead after 3 weeks. There's 4 posts. 3 from 2019, 2 from 2020, 1 from 2021. But they have the balls to declare themselves that they are A, B, and C subset of whatever the hell this page is. It makes me laugh because anything creative like this has to like come from the ground up, and it won't grow unless you fucking keep at it. At it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%.
Dude, I remember when you used to do like Easter Bunny fucking gigs at Westfield.
You mean Santa Claus? Father Christmas.
Was it Father Christmas?
Oh, maybe, yeah.
I thought you did Easter Bunny as well.
I've done every kind of gig.
But that's what I mean.
Yeah. Well, that was just me trying to keep the dream alive for as long as I did.
Yeah, but you did it.
Yeah, man, I have. I mean, I've kept at it because for me, it's been something it's always been a source of great fulfillment and joy. I just love acting. And even if it wasn't a career path, if I didn't choose it to be a career path, I would still be doing it in some capacity because I enjoy it. I love entertaining people. I like to perform. It's part of who I am. It's part of my personality. But man, it's a tough slog, and you don't, something like that, which is a creative pursuit. It's extremely difficult to, get success. You know what I mean? And I was watching this Jordan Peterson video where he was talking about.
Okay.
Where he was talking about.
We're an hour and 40 minutes in, and we've come to the Great White Hope.
Oh, all right.
I was wondering how long it was going to take 3 dudes who were pretty masked to get to Jordan Peterson.
To get to Jordan Peterson.
Hour and 42 minutes.
No, but it was interesting because it was like studies done on creativity or creative achievement, and most people end up. It's only like 5% of people that actually are successful, like creatively, that they can actually, where they can actually. I don't know. I mean, it depends on how you define success, really. But,
okay, well, that's a good question. How would you define success? I'll start with you over here.
Being genuinely happy. As simple as that sounds. Yeah. To me, it's not a dollar figure. It's being able to be honest with yourself and say to yourself, yeah, I'm genuinely happy.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
Beyond content. Right?
Yes, because this was a question that was asked of me at work, actually, at the office. They said to me, as part of a mid-year review, said, what's your definition of success? And that's pretty much all I said.
How'd that go?
Well, they understood it.
Okay, that's
the person that I was working with, they got that because
you can be honest with yourself. That was your...
Or that you can be honest with yourself in that you're genuinely happy. That's what success is to me. Being genuinely happy in life. And, in terms of this question at work, some people might answer it within the scope of the corporation or, a job. But for me, that didn't even come into it.
Yeah.
Because to me, success is much, much, much broader than that. So that's how I define it.
Yeah.
But also, I mentioned before, striving towards certain goals that I have in life. That I'll consider that a secondary form of success if I get to ticking certain things off this list and saying.
Someone had asked me. Someone had said to me ages ago that why can't someone just be happy with getting a job and having a family and blah, blah, blah.
Well, they can be.
I never said you can't. Yeah. But it's about getting the job and not being miserable because you have a shit job or because it's not the job that Sarah next door has or doesn't have. It's about having a family and not taking it out on your kids because you didn't achieve everything you thought you would achieve. I said it ages ago. I tweeted it. I can't remember the exact quote, but it was something about, weak people that use their kids as scapegoats for all their misfirings and haphazard attempts to achieve, childhood dreams and shit like that. Like using the kids and the wife as, I could have been an AFL star, but chose to have a family instead. But then I think fuck off, you didn't.
Well, you're not taking responsibility for your own choices.
But that's my point.
And what are these? I mean, we've discussed this before. People talk about dreams. Well, what are they?
Yeah.
And how achievable are they? How realistic are they for people, in certain situations?
I'm 38 with a bad back, bad knees. I'm not going to play in the NBA. I'm under 6'4". I'd love to have played in the NBA, but I never set out to do it. Yeah. And those dreams weren't tangible and tangible sort of fucking things. You know what I mean?
It has to be within, I think it has to, I don't know. It's weird. I mean, it depends depends how you look at it. I mean, some people say that, your dreams should be outside of your reach. They should be, you should think of that's the whole point of having a dream that you don't think that you might be able to get or that you think is beyond your grasp. Other people might say, well, that's you deluding yourself and you need to kind of aim lower and more realistically. So I don't know.
But then you're surrounded by toxic people that never ever attempt their dreams or anything beyond, beyond the horizons of what the people around them did, either for fear of failure, fear of judgment.
Not everyone has ambitious dreams, though. That's the thing.
No, like we said, some with that scenario you mentioned before, there's nothing wrong with that in itself, and some people are happy, genuinely happy living that way, and that's good for them.
But the problem is that most people aren't. They just bitch about it. They talk about the path not travelled.
No, but they might not be happy with the specific situation that they're in, but the outlining idea is okay. Like, for example, that marriage and the kids and that, they might like the idea of marriage, but they might not particularly like who they're married to.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I've dealt with that.
They might like the idea of working in a certain industry, but they just don't like the company they've ended up in.
Or the job that they have.
Or the department. Because some departments in big companies suck and other departments aren't so bad. So, it really does depend on that. I know so many people that are in relationships / marriages that shouldn't be together.
Oh,
in my opinion,
dude,
you can tell they stay together for fear of being alone because they have children. They don't want to.
Cowardice, man.
Yeah.
No, cowardice to break the norm and the standard set before them.
Yeah.
Or the judgmental eyes of other people.
Yeah. Or they feel like, that they can't make it on their own or, whatever it might be. So they stay in these relationships.
I said this in my last recording that was on my own. I said that dreams should not be capped. Ambition should not be capped by parents, friends, family. Like, no one should ever be able to tell you, oh, why do you need to do that for? Why do you need to achieve this for? Don't you have enough? What's it going to take to make you happy? this was good enough for us. Why do you have to do any different?
So have you had that said to you?
Of course I have. Dude, I remember back when I was 19, 20 years old, my core group of mates at that time, right? My cousin was part of that group. I remember I was just about to start audio engineering and my cousin was about to start, I think, civil engineering or something like that. And we were both talking about going to London because like both career paths were like, they were the breeding grounds at that time, right? Mid-2000s. If you wanted an audio job, construction and design and shit was getting really big in the UK. And we were talking, just talking, man, like just talking shit about it, yeah? One of our mates was like, what do you need to do that for? I'm like, because it'd be fucking sick. Like, we want to progress. And he's like, and his parents owned a furniture shop, like not a manufacturer, like a warehouse, right? Cypriots. Yeah. Throwback to like the 90s, you know what I mean? And he's like, oh, this was, what's wrong with just getting a job and having a family and stuff? I go, well, we can do that, but we can do this now, like it's something to look at. Oh, it was good enough for our parents. Why does it have to be any different for us? Are you saying that you're better than your parents? I'm like, what's wrong with wanting more than what our parents had? Our parents came from overseas looking for a better life. Why can't we look for more?
I think it's human nature too. Something wrong with ambition because it gives you drive. I mean,
yeah, but I know so many people that are capped at what their parents achieved.
Right.
Even if that maxes out at had kids.
Yeah.
That's it. You ask them for the family scrapbook. Like, what have you fucking done? What have you seen? Like, this planet is fucking huge, man.
Some people aren't interested. And that's another thing you just have to accept. Some people aren't interested in this planet. They're not interested in seeing the world.
No,
They're just not.
You don't have to see the world, but you have to see more than past your toes.
They're not interested. They're
when
just
you're tying your shoelaces
But I
up.
believe there are a lot of people that genuinely are just not interested. Their brains just don't go there. So I think the answer is that these people probably aren't they're not meant for you in any.
Oh no,
they're not curious.
They're not. You're right. They're not curious. They're don't have those wider interests,
and that's just their personality.
That's their personality.
The thing that annoys me is the fact that the society, humankind, is built on resilience and progression. Those two things that we overlook all the time, right? Human beings are fucking resilient. We have survived nukes from above. We've survived, changing of climate. We've survived predators. We've survived everything, natural disasters, whatever.
Yeah,
mass famine. We've survived, and the irony is in the as far as the industrial revolution and world, modern history, we're our biggest threat, right? The irony of it all. But human beings are fucking resilient. It also bases on the fact of fucking progression. The people that did see past the fucking fence of the front yard, they wanted to keep advancing.
Yeah, but there are people that are meant for that. They're meant for continuing to push the horizon. And then there are other people that have to keep the machines going. And they're the people that keep the machine going. And they're not the kind of people that you're talking about. But we still need those people.
I agree.
To keep it going, So we all need each other.
Maybe
You're forgetting, dude. I don't care.
Maybe what's annoying you as well is that
Grundy Productions is following this guy right now. So
I don't care about what. No, I'm saying the truth. I'm saying you're talking about because you're someone that does push the envelope. You are someone that kind of, you're creative in that way. You're quite open. So there's a reason for that. There's a purpose for the way that you think, you know what I mean? And so a lot of people aren't going to get that, but a lot of people do get it, and they value it, and the point is that you understand it, you value it, and you keep doing what you do.
Okay, wait, we sort of glossed over it, all right? But Simo gave a really good answer, a real articulate answer as far as what drives
what my answer's not articulate here.
No, what I'm asking is what actually drives you. I mean, we got Simo's like 4 or 5, polarized goals that he walks around with constantly at the back of his sort of mind.
Okay.
And everything he does sort of falls. I'm assuming everything you do, like a good chunk of it, is in order to achieve this subset of goals, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you align you align yourself to be able to tick some of these things off.
Yeah.
Long term, short term, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Exactly.
He has he has a very strong purpose.
Yeah. So what's yours then? What actually gets you motivated to get up?
That's a good question.
It is a good question. I've been doing this a while, man.
What motivates us to get up in the morning and be...
Yeah. He gave us his subset of tasks that he wants to achieve long-term and short-term, and everything is geared around meticulous structure.
He didn't specifically say what they were.
He didn't say what they were, and that's not him.
Good pick. Yeah,
no, I know, I got that.
To mention it.
Where it's world domination, God knows what it is, right?
Yeah.
But he's around meticulous structure.
Yeah, he's very structured in his approach.
Yeah. So then, what is it that keeps driving you?
Well, it's not what it is, but the question is how.
Okay.
Well,
the who and what is Simo. Ask the big question: why?
Well, the thing is, I admire Simo's structure and the way that he goes about it. You know, I wish I had that level of discipline, and
Me too, man.
Yeah, I can't say that I don't think that I do. You know, I strive to, but for me, it is about inspiration. I want to be inspired. Obviously, whatever's going to drive me has to make me want to get up in the morning. But the application of that is the key, you know, and that's what you were talking about before, you know, being really clear, very disciplined in your approach to your goals, you know, and I think that goes a long way in you achieving them.
Yeah.
For me, it also depends on, I guess, where you want to achieve, like what areas of life your goals are kind of are in. So, for example, your line of work, you know, is very different from my line of work, and my line of work is quite fickle. Things are changing all the time, so I have to have a certain level of flexibility and adaptability to how things are constantly changing. Now, I could have a goal. Let's say, for example, you know, my goal is to, you know, let's say make it in Hollywood, or, you know, do some big movie or whatever. Now, I can think, okay, the best way to go about that is go A, B, C, but something might come out of left field. So, for example, I might do something, right? I might do a gig that I did, say, 6 months ago that I thought kind of like, you know, that was kind of like whatever. I didn't really think much of it, but then that might come back and pay dividends later. That someone might see that and go, "Oh fuck, yeah, he was really good in that. We're going to give him this other role based on this role," and I would never have seen that coming. So I have to constantly remain. I feel like I've got to constantly remain open to potential opportunities that are constantly coming my way, and I have to be able to pivot and change course, change my still going in the same direction, but like pivoting, you know what I mean?
So what you're saying is be like water, my friend.
A little bit, yeah. It's about being flexible, you know, and kind of adapting to what, man, it's a fucking crazy business, man.
Okay, so
it's a crazy business. I was on a corporate gig, you know, like just to give you an example. I was doing a corporate gig in Woodend, working for a consultancy firm that work with companies, and they work with their staff, and they work with this particular firm works with scientists, and it was an in-house thing. It was like an HR thing, and we had to come in as actors and perform like these simulations where they have to talk to their employee and stuff. It's, you know, to develop their interpersonal skills, right? Great gig, and I love doing that stuff. I do a lot of different kind of stuff, and then literally on that gig, at the end of it, my agent's ringing me going, "Hey, they've offered you this gig in Sydney. Can you fly up tonight?" And I'm like, fuck, I don't think I can. So I have to, you know, it was the next morning I flew up to Sydney for the gig. So that's how it is.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah. So
but to ask you the question that I asked him, like end goal, he said that he wants to be genuinely happy.
Okay.
That's what motivates him.
And that could mean a number of different things.
Yeah, in whatever way you want to interpret it, that's an overarching theme. What about yourself? What's the end goal? Can you bring it down to something that basic?
Well,
when I mean basic, I don't mean shallow. I just mean as bluntly as simple. Yeah.
Well, no, because I think there's a bit of a paradox to his answer, because he wants to be genuinely happy.
That's what success means to me.
But
which is what your question was.
But this is the thing. Success is
what
not...
does success mean to you?
But hang on a second. Success is not an end point. It's not an end point for him. Because he's not going, once I get to that point, I'm going to be genuinely happy. The pursuit of that goal is what's giving him that sense of fulfillment. It's giving him that satisfaction. It's giving him that happiness.
Yeah, because if I didn't have that, then I wouldn't be happy.
Exactly.
No.
So it's not that I'm miserable now, and then when I get there, I'm going to be happy. That's the fallacy. It's not that.
That's a mistake.
It's a mistake.
Yeah.
So the very pursuit of having a goal, having something to work towards, is what gives you that sense of meaning, that sense of satisfaction, and it's got to be something that you want to do that galvanizes you. You know, for me, it has been acting so far. It still is, but it has broadened. Okay, because of life, because I do want to achieve other things in my life other than acting. Okay, so that's it. But as long as you're kind of moving towards something, I think, and as long as you feel like you're making progress, I think that's important.
Yeah, see, that's what I was saying about the progress thing. It's key to humanity's survival. Progression. Everyone should be waking up with progression on their brain.
Here's a question for us. I mean, how important is fatherhood to us? Is that in our mind? Is that a goal? Is that something that we would like to?
Sure. Yeah, I would. Yeah, at some point, absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I feel that's if I never have children, that'll be the one regret I will take to my grave. I think, honestly, that would probably hurt. That the only thing that would hurt is if I never become a father.
A father, specifically a father, as in
I biologically sire children. Yeah, of my own. Yeah,
not a mother.
Not a mother. No.
You're not planning on getting pregnant anytime soon.
No, I don't have a uterus. You know,
sire children, which can one day be betrothed to a marquis or a duke
or a count or a baron. Yeah.
Yes, your sire, my sire. What about you? Let's flip it over to you.
Someone said to me, you know, because you guys know, like, I don't stop working, and I never really have.
Because you work hard for the money.
It's not just money, though. I'm doing this for free. Someone said to me the other day, is the studio viable anymore? I said, it never was. Okay. If anyone ever saw my finances, they'd be like, you can't afford this. Look, you nuts. But I just did it anyway. Because it meant that much to me that I had to fucking do it.
Yeah.
And I said to him I was talking to him on the phone because I said to him, he's like, hey, you going anyway? And I said, just shit hits a fan. You know, my car's fucked. This is fucked, blah, blah, blah. You know, I got to pay for this and that. He's like, man, he goes, the studio must be taking out a big chunk of your wage. I'm like, yeah, it does. And he goes, yeah, is it even viable anymore? I said, and my words were, it never was. If I had to wait for viability, I'd never have the fucking studio, like, ever. He goes, so what are you doing? I go, mate, okay, I'm working 7 days a week, but if I could be in there for free 3 days a week, I would fucking do it. I would not care because that is part of the goal. When I was a kid, you know, when I was a teenager, all I wanted was a record. This isn't even the type of studio that I wanted, right? When I pictured a studio, I pictured like, you know, glass window, big mixer board, all that sort of shit, recording bands. I have no interest in that anymore. I'd prefer this because it's worked to that. So then when you look at like, you know, me working 7 days a week and all that sort of shit, how are you exhausted and like how you keep going? And like you were saying before, your parents said that you must be relentless. That's something that people call me as well, right? And it's like, okay, then why are you doing this? Because I want to. Everything, like you, I've got a set of goals or whatever they are, but it's probably not as defined as I'd imagine yours would be. My goals aren't defined the way yours are. Mine are more overarching, like, I want to be genuinely happy beyond contentment, like, as in being content, but I want to do it. I don't care what it is. Whatever the plan is always going to change. There's never a plan B. Plan A just changes, right? Our friend Andy said that to me once, like 15 years ago. There is no plan B. A will change to suit whatever the hell you want to be doing. Don't resort to like second best because there's no point. You got to, whatever the goal is, make that the goal and that's it. Don't be prepared to fall back on a second tier acceptance like, all right, this will do. You know, if I don't get A, I'll just get B. Fuck that. Go for A and die trying going for A. You know what I mean? If that's what's going to make you happy.
Yeah.
If you're happy with B, then just take fucking B and be done with it. Anyway, so my big driver is the fact that because these were the other thing we were talking about, whether we're products of our environment, and does, family and society, micro and macro, influence what your goals are and what your level of contentment is. I grew up in a house where money always felt like it was scarce. Like scarce. Even though, when I look back at it as an adult, we were lower middle class. You know what I mean? Or upper lower class. Somewhere there. But that's the environment I grew up under because my old man's fears.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
His fears were literally instilled in me for 25 years.
Yeah.
Until I stepped out of that, started taking risks and taking care of my mental health and listening to that inner voice, only then did things start changing.
Yeah.
I work 7 days a week. Investments are completely overstretched, drafted out, overdrafted to the shithouse, no credit, no nothing. But my mental health is at the best it's ever been, ever.
Right.
Because I genuinely wake up happy.
That's great.
Do you know what I mean? I'm exhausted. I have things I need to do. And it's like, fuck. But it doesn't feel like it's never ending. It's all for these goals. Achieving independence, living on my terms to some degree as best as I can. You know what I mean? For me, that is the outline. To be able to do what I want to do eventually with completely unfettered. Do you know what I mean? I'm not talking about waking up and buying a yacht and going to Monaco, but like realistic, tangible shit. But shit that most people probably take for granted that I actually have never had.
Okay.
I took a 2-week holiday this year that was paid for. Like I had a salary paying my time off, which I've never had ever in my entire life.
Yeah, annual leave.
Yeah. I've never had annual leave paid for me. I got to 38 before I ever experienced that. And I've worked every fucking day since I was 14. Do you know what I mean? That's something people take for granted. It's like, oh, you'll be getting a big payout when you leave. What payout? Been casually employed for like how many years? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that is what motivates me. Like, I've obviously done the media thing. I've done all this shit, which hasn't panned out to the way that I wanted it to. So I had to reset the goalposts and find new drive. It's like, all right, cool. Well, if I can't be the NBA player, fuck it. I'll be the NBA agent that makes more money than the NBA player and has more fucking freedom.
Yeah.
Because during the off season, he's holidaying, not fucking training. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Reassess. You know, I do all these audio things, like all this shit, and if I get voiceover gigs as a byproduct of that, then good, so be it. I don't have the money to get an agent or push for work, so I'll have to create my own work. You know what I mean?